Rugby's greatest rivalry has taken an unexpected turn ahead of the second test between the Springboks and the All Blacks, with World Rugby confirming a change to the match officials for the Cape Town clash. Georgian referee Nika Amashukeli has not recovered from illness in time for this weekend's test, meaning Australian referee Angus Gardner will now take charge of the match at DHL Stadium. The change was officially confirmed by World Rugby, with a further reshuffle also announced for the third test in Johannesburg. The news comes at a fascinating moment in the rivalry. The All Blacks entered the second test with confidence after producing an impressive 33-16 victory over the Springboks in the opening match in Johannesburg. New Zealand scored 5 tries and showed excellent attacking efficiency, while South Africa struggled to turn periods of pressure into points. Now, with the second test taking place in Cape Town, the Springboks have an immediate opportunity to respond. The referee change itself is not connected to any controversy. World Rugby has confirmed that Nika Amashukeli is unavailable because he has not recovered from illness. As a result, Angus Gardner, who was originally part of the officiating team as an assistant referee, has been promoted to referee for the second test. Gardner brings significant international experience to one of the biggest matches in the rugby calendar. His job will be to manage the breakdown, scrums, tackles, advantage, offside lines, and overall discipline while working closely with his assistant referees and the television match official. In a game involving two extremely physical teams, those areas could become crucial. The updated officiating team for the Cape Town test will also include England's Carl Dixon and Scotland's Sam Grovewhite as assistant referees. Brett Cronin of Australia will serve as the television match official, while France's Eric Gosens will take the role of foul play review officer. The addition of Sam Grovewhite is another result of the reshuffle. He joins the wider officiating group after Gardner's promotion to referee. His experience will be valuable alongside Carl Dixon, particularly in a match where the pressure on officials is expected to be enormous. The presence of Brett Cronin as TMO also gives both teams an experienced official responsible for reviewing key incidents when required. Meanwhile, Eric Gosens will focus on foul play review duties. Together, the officials form an extended team designed to support the referee throughout the match. But while the officials have changed, the biggest story remains the battle between the Springboks and All Blacks. South Africa have plenty to improve after their first test defeat. They controlled important parts of the contest, particularly at scrum time and in physical exchanges, but their execution was not good enough. Handling mistakes, missed opportunities and problems converting pressure into points ultimately allowed New Zealand to take control. For head coach Rassie Erasmus, the second test is an opportunity to correct those issues. South Africa are expected to bring greater accuracy, intensity and discipline to Cape Town. The home crowd will also provide an enormous boost, with the Springboks knowing that another defeat would give the All Blacks a significant advantage in the series. The return of experienced players also gives South Africa reason for optimism. Captain Siya Kolisi remains a key figure for the team, while Handré Pollard provides experience and composure at fly half. Against New Zealand, South Africa need their senior players to make the right decisions when the pressure reaches its highest point. The first test showed that physical dominance alone is not enough. South Africa produced strong moments but could not consistently convert them into points. New Zealand, by contrast, were much more clinical. When opportunities appeared, the All Blacks took them. That is something Rassie Erasmus will want to change immediately. New Zealand, however, will not simply sit back and defend their lead in the rivalry. Head coach Dave Rennie knows the All Blacks also need to improve. Their first test victory was impressive, but it was not perfect. New Zealand conceded penalties and experienced pressure in the scrum, and they know the Springboks are likely to increase that pressure in Cape Town. The All Blacks will therefore need discipline, accuracy, and patience. Their attacking game was one of the biggest positives from the opening test, and they will want to maintain that attacking ambition while dealing with a more aggressive South African defense. The scrum could once again become one of the major talking points. South Africa used their set-piece strength effectively in Johannesburg, while New Zealand have been studying how the Springboks approach the scrum. With Angus Gardner now in the middle, Both sides will need to adapt quickly to his interpretation of the laws. That does not mean the referee will decide the match. Ultimately, the players will determine the result. But how teams respond to an official's interpretation can influence territory, possession, and momentum. This is particularly important at the breakdown. Both teams have powerful forwards and aggressive defensive systems. A few early penalties could change the entire flow of the match. The side that remains disciplined while maintaining pressure could gain a significant advantage. The second test is therefore about much more than the referee appointment. It is about momentum. The All Blacks currently have it. The Springboks want to take it back. A second New Zealand victory would put enormous pressure on South Africa. But a Springboks win in Cape Town would completely change the story. The series would become much more competitive, and the third test in Johannesburg would suddenly carry even greater significance. That third test will now have its own officiating change. Nika Amashukeli is scheduled to return as referee for the Johannesburg test on Saturday, September 5th. Angus Gardner will be an assistant referee alongside England's Christoph Ridley. For that match, Eric Gosens will move into the TMO role, while Brett Cronin will become the foul play review officer. So the original appointments have effectively been rearranged between the second and third tests. Gardner was originally scheduled to referee in Johannesburg, while Amashukeli was due to referee in Cape Town. The illness-related change has reversed those central assignments. For supporters, the key point is that the officiating structure remains in place despite the unexpected change. World Rugby has ensured that the Cape Town test has a full and experienced officiating team, while Nika Amashukeli remains part of the series and is scheduled to return for the Johannesburg clash. Now all attention turns to DHL Stadium. The atmosphere is expected to be intense. The Springboks will have the support of their home crowd, while the All Blacks arrive knowing that another victory could put them in a powerful position in the series. For South Africa, the message is simple: improve the execution. For New Zealand, it is equally clear: repeat the intensity and discipline that produced the first test victory. And for Angus Gardner, the challenge is to manage one of the most closely watched rugby matches in the world. The first test demonstrated just how fine the margins can be. South Africa had opportunities but failed to capitalize. New Zealand took their chances and built a convincing lead. In Cape Town, those same opportunities may not appear twice. The Springboks cannot afford unnecessary mistakes. The All Blacks cannot afford to become complacent. This is also where the experience of Siya Kolisi, Handré Pollard, and the senior Springboks becomes so important. They understand that the second test is about responding under pressure. A team can lose one match and recover, but allowing the opposition to build momentum across multiple tests can make the challenge much harder. New Zealand will be thinking about exactly the same thing from the opposite perspective. The All Blacks have earned their advantage, and now they must protect it. That makes Cape Town a fascinating tactical battle. South Africa are likely to attack with greater urgency, while New Zealand will look for opportunities to exploit space and punish mistakes. The contest between South Africa's physical pressure and New Zealand's attacking efficiency could once again define the match. And somewhere in the middle of that battle will be Angus Gardner and his officiating team. The referee appointment may have changed, but the pressure has not. The Springboks need a response. The All Blacks want confirmation that their first test victory was more than a one-off performance. Rassie Erasmus will be searching for improvements. Dave Rennie will be demanding consistency. Angus Gardner will be responsible for controlling the contest. And rugby supporters around the world will be watching closely. The updated appointments are now confirmed. For Test 2 at DHL Stadium in Cape Town on Saturday, August 29th, Angus Gardner will referee, with Carl Dixon and Sam Grovewhite as assistant referees, Brett Cronin as TMO and Eric Gosens as FPRO. For Test 3 at FNB Stadium in Johannesburg on Saturday, September 5th, Nika Amashukeli will referee, with Angus Gardner and Christoph Ridley as assistant referees, Eric Gosens as TMO and Brett Cronin as FPRO. The officials have been confirmed. The stage is set. The first test belongs to New Zealand. Now South Africa have their chance to answer. Cape Town will provide the backdrop, the crowd will provide the noise, and the players will decide what happens next. This is rugby's greatest rivalry. And after a dramatic opening chapter, the second test could be the match that changes everything.